This is Wake Up Missouri with Stephanie Bell, the Zimmer News Team, and your host, Randy Tobler.
To our homeland. We initially selected Huntsville for the Spacecom headquarters, yet those plans were wrongfully obstructed by the Biden administration. And as you know, they moved them to a different locale. And today we're moving forward with what we want to do and the place that we want to have this. And this will be there for hopefully hundreds of years.
What's he talking about? Welcome in, Wake Up Missouri. In for Stephanie Bell, Jennifer Bukowski, host of the Jennifer Bukowski Show on Sunday mornings. John Marsh aboard, Drake Whitman. What, pray tell, is he talking about? He'd had plans. Biden dashed it, but he is restoring it.
We're the mighty watchful eye, guardians beyond the blue. The invisible front line, war fighters brave and true.
Drake's going, what? That's the Space Force theme. We're guardians of the sky.
I didn't know they had a hymn.
Xi Jinping with his millions of marchers looking like rockets in lockstep, beautiful rhythm. They got nothing on us.
Are you making that up? Is that really?
We're the mighty watchful eye.
Are you making that up?
Guardians beyond the blue.
No, this is
the invisible front line.
Did they transport people back?
all together now.
Reaching into space. There's no limit to our sky. Standing guard both night.
I could go to AI right now and come up with a better theme song that doesn't sound like it's from 1940. I literally could in a matter of minutes.
That's the point of the hymn.
That's the official
Space Force sounded so cool to me in every way up until you just played that. So thanks for ruining that for me, Randy.
They've got some really wild uniforms if you've ever seen them.
I'm going to Google that right now.
Now, in contrast to the, what anniversary was it, John? The 80th anniversary of China winning the war against Japan, right? And we sacrificed so much for that, right?
Yeah,
in World War II.
We were little involved with that.
And they the thanks they give us is a military parade like you've never seen. I mean, they had these. I saw this video of these women soldiers marching. You know, they had the boots, they had the military garb. They were. I'm telling you, if you drew a line, if you drew like a plumb line across, what do they call that when you're laying out foundations and stuff? You take a string and a chalk line. If you took that and stretched it from street side to street side across their knees as they're there wouldn't be a millimeter different. I've never seen such precision like that. It was you got to give them credit. Those Chinese, they put on quite a show.
Yeah, well, if you didn't do that, they'd probably just take you out back and kill you. But, that's the Chinese way.
I don't know.
Pretty much.
I think it's in the rice. I don't know. There's something there.
That's what it is.
I'm telling you, man.
I think the units in the parade, that's all they do. They drill 24/7.
That's what I'm thinking. You put a gun in their hand. They had the guns in their hand. Women with guns in their hand. Jennifer, you know that. A woman with a gun in her hand. That's a good look. Got the guns. You go to the range, don't you?
Not as much as I should.
But you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. So he's putting on quite a show, Xi Jinping. And that versus the space song, Space Force theme. Well, President Trump was flanked by Alabamian officials and Huntsville officials. Have you been to the Huntsville Rocket Center there? Very, very cool. You ought to take your kids there. Wonderful. Well, don't you have a budding engineer going to go to Purdue? Yeah.
He's there right now.
He's there, yeah.
Yep.
How's he doing?
He's doing well.
Yeah.
As far as I know.
You get hazed?
Not hazed.
Oh, good. I didn't know. Well, glad. I mean, I don't like hazing.
He's not rushing a fraternity.
Oh, he does. Oh, okay.
So I
didn't know.
That reduces your
You
chances
don't do that
of
when
getting
you're a
hazed
freshman?
right there. You can if you're interested in Greek life.
Yeah, he's
but
not
everyone does Greek life.
Yeah, I don't know. We went to UMSL commuter school. Took the bus from the parking lot of the Venture store on Lemay Ferry. I'll never forget those bus fumes. We didn't do that whole thing. At any rate, well, good for him. So he's enjoying school, huh? That's good. But Huntsville's a very cool center. That's where a lot of the initial rocketry work was done for, back in the 50s. It was an amazing place. And it's to tour that and you see the original Saturn V rockets and stuff. It's very cool. And I'm glad. Now he's doing this. Do you know why he's doing this? He's punishing Colorado because they have mail-in voting. And he said that. He went on to say, well, we got a reason for that.
Well, don't they, if they're going to be launching things, I would think
I will
they
say
need
I
to be
want
down
to
there.
thank Colorado.
This
the
is
problem I have
hilarious.
with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatically crooked elections. And we can't have that. When
He doesn't retaliate. He's not weaponizing the government. I don't like your state. I'm pulling the facility out of it. We're moving it to a red state, by golly. Don't mess with me.
It has nothing to do with, they need to do space programs in, Florida or Texas or Alabama generally. I don't know. It's some science thing with the way they have launch windows and the oceans right there.
Yeah.
They don't seem to ever launch them from the middle of the continental United States.
I think it has to do with the proliferation of weed in Colorado. I mean, got a bunch of guys sitting around the panels going, I don't know, man. I don't know. We got a rocket ship going up.
I don't know.
Push
Where
the
they have
button.
that Air Force Academy, I don't know if you're going to be smelling a whole bunch of weed if you walk around the Air Force Academy, and that's where that thing is.
On the THC, you get the vibe, you get the sort of the cool vibe. You get complacent, you're laid back, Yeah, I don't know. Another orbit or two. I don't know. How's that window looking, Jen? What do you say? Drake, what's the matter? What are you laughing at?
No, it's just nothing.
Okay, in other news, now, the Governor Keogh is going to join us at 7:05. Let's get serious here. We got a special session that starts today. The House comes into session today, correct?
Yes.
It's Wednesday already. Wow.
And the Senate next week. By the way, Senator O'Loughlin, the President Pro Tem, will be with us on Friday at 7:35. So they come into special session. Purpose of said special session to do redistricting, 7-to-1 map. Looks pretty good to me. It takes, not only in the Columbia, but I think in a couple of other areas, it takes away the split city phenomenon, I think, right? So there's some advantage there. And then initiative petition reform also on the agenda. We'll have to see where that goes. I think it'll be fascinating to see. Certainly, they wouldn't call a session and be so aggressive about it. And when you I've talked to Nick Schroer. I'm anxious to see what Cindy O'Loughlin says. You wouldn't think they'd call it unless they've done some straw voting. Don't you think? The vote ahead of the vote.
This time around, I would agree with you. I think that's not always the case, but here it just took so long to call a special session that my suspicion was that they were making sure that they had their ducks in the row, at least for the map, before calling the special session. Now, I don't know if they have everything on lock for initiative petition reform, and so I look forward to asking the governor that. That's a great guest to have here on Wake Up Missouri.
Yeah, we'll be talking to him at 7:05. And, John, I guess we should ask him about this lawsuit that's been filed by the son of a senator, Senator Chirpio.
Sirpoy.
Sirpoy?
I don't know if we should, though.
Was it
Randy, he's not
Sirpoy?
going to be able to talk about it.
Yeah,
we
not
could.
if it's
It's
at the
filed.
lawsuit stage,
It's
right?
our journalistic duty. But I'm interested. There's a lot of talk about the National Guard being called in for various places. And apparently this dust-up is a alleged infringement on First Amendment rights because the governor had the National Guard around for the No Kings. Remember that Saturday? It was going to be a big nationwide, 1,800 municipalities, and there were like 35 people that came out and, had shared some gummies. I don't know. And there was supposed to be a lot of violence and everything ahead of this, right?
Isn't that the one where it's all like retirees over 65 showing up?
I mean, it was ridiculous.
So,
Old hippies.
Well, they do
there might have been
they were
some
doing
gummy
gummies.
use,
For
but
sure doing
at
gummies.
least they weren't preparing my food at a restaurant when they were doing their gummies. It feels like a lot of people are.
Yeah, to think no tax on tips either. But so he called out the National Guard, which what turned out to be peaceful demonstrations. And so I guess Sirpoy, right? His son is filing suit because of some alleged infringement on First Amendment rights. Now, what First Amendment right is infringed upon because there's camouflaged people hanging out? What? How does that infringe on your First Amendment rights? You see
Yeah,
that?
he's a disability activist.
A what activist?
Lucas Sirpoy, a disability rights
A disability
activist
rights.
Yeah.
So
from
what?
Blue Springs, said he felt intimidated by the governor's actions and too unsafe to attend any No Kings protest on June 14th. His lawsuit alleges the order violated Sirpoy's right to free speech, free assembly, and free association. And it was also an act of discrimination based on disability, since those with vision impairments would uniquely be vulnerable to projectile weapons fired by crowd-controlled troops. Sirpoy is legally blind in one eye.
What?
Well, that's creative art. That's
Yeah.
a creative argument.
Good luck.
Who's the attorney for that one?
It's not indicating that right now, but
Man,
I
I would-
would bet that, Sirpoy, Lucas Sirpoy, and his father, the state senator, might not have voted the same way in November. Maybe they have a split household too, which I can relate to.
And I do
Trust
want
me.
to. I do.
So
want-
Sirpoy's
Not like-
representing himself in
My
the lawsuit.
extended family is not all on the same page.
he's representing himself.
Oh boy.
Is that what you said, John?
That's what it says.
Oh my!
Well,
Wow.
the courts, we just love it when someone comes in there and represents themselves, especially if they say they're a sovereign citizen, not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. It's not a pain in the you-know-what at all when people come in there and don't know what they're doing
Yeah.
and file suits.
Yeah.
Well, he did say he's interviewing attorneys.
Wow.
So he filed a lawsuit without having an attorney yet?
Apparently so.
Well, he doesn't have a statute of limitations problem. Like, he had time. It's only September.
Wouldn't it be cool if the governor represented himself and just had a
No.
good old-fashioned trial? I mean, I just would
Why,
like that.
how about a duel then, Randy? Let's just
Oh,
go back even
hey,
farther there.
Now you're. I think citizens ought to be able to represent themselves.
They are able to represent themselves.
Well, but I don't think they should be mocked when they do that, because just because they're not attorneys, right? Which they should have a voice in front of a judge and say, "Judge, this is what I did. Here's my evidence."
Attorneys aren't even supposed to represent. We're generally, it's just not smart to represent
smart.
yourself, even if you're an attorney, because you can't be impartial. You can't be like reasoning with the other side objectively, and yeah. So we're not. That's the advice is not to
but it's all
represent
about
yourself.
winning. So why do you want to be objective? You just want to win. Objective has nothing to do with it. We just want to win, right?
You do want to win.
That's what Stephanie, your friend, tells me. She said we want to win. What does objectivity have to do with anything?
Maybe objectivity isn't the word I'm looking for, but reasonable.
There you go.
You
now.
need to be reasonable.
Well, and there's rules. You got to know the rules of the courtroom, right? And we sovereign citizens don't know the rules. That's where we get laughed out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're not a sovereign citizen.
I'm
you
not.
believe in that you're subject to the jurisdiction of the United States of America, don't you?
Yeah, mostly. Okay, here comes Jennifer with the Daily DC Rundown when we come back.
You're listening to Wake Up Missouri
vaccines as a consequence of essentially misstatements, I don't know what you want to call them, including things like, the vaccine stops you from getting and spreading COVID. Remember all the mandates, Chris, that were in place? I mean, I think that kind of level of distrust I've never in my long career in public health have seen before. And what the president's doing is very, very healthy. Transparency is the way forward.
That's Jay Bhattacharya, the NIH director. Here's Jennifer Bukowski with the Daily DC Rundown.
Well, President Trump has sent a Navy ship to take out Tren de Aragua. 11 people have perished in firing on a ship that he says contained narco-terrorists. Additionally, we have the questioning of the vaccine, and he said that was a great achievement of his first term. We'll see how much more comes of that.
Isn't it interesting, though, he posted on Truth Social, he says, we're hearing that, they shared so much data with allegedly the people who approved this, but where's all the full data? Let's get the truth out. Let's put an end to this. Good for him. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good to look into it, and we deserve to know. Harmeet Dillon is still filing plenty of lawsuits. And unfortunately, a D.C. Circuit panel rolled 2-1. Well, no, 2 permit Trump. He had a win and a loss. He's going to be able to access $16 billion in climate funds authorized by the Biden administration as they were throwing gold bars out the Titanic. But they will not be able to use that alien sedition law to deport Tren de Aragua Venezuelans. So that is your DC Daily Rundown.
Now they used to just apparently take and shoot the motors off of the boats, right? Now this time, did you see that video?
Yeah.
John, did you see that video?
Yeah.
Do you think they could have survived it? Or do you think that hit? I mean, it looked not survive unless you get blasted off.
I think they're an oil slick. I just think they're an oil slick.
You think fire would have burned them up?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're goners. But
well, I want to know, how do you know, as a criminal defense attorney, I want to know, how were you so certain? What kind of intel did you have that that's what they were doing, that they were actually coming to the United States?
I had that question too.
That they did have drugs on board, because we have no way of questioning them. They have no way of having any kind of representation. They're all dead now. The drugs would be burnt up. So how do we know that they're getting the right people and that they were actually coming to the United States?
I wondered about that myself. I haven't heard a lot of pushback, though, that's the first public question I've heard asked about that.
It's just my instinct. I don't like when they were using drones to kill people, including Americans over in the Middle East, taking them out.
Yeah, remember that kid who was just taken out?
Yeah, he was with his dad, and he was an American citizen and killed without a trial. And I just wonder here, how do we know that they were in Tren de Aragua, that they were coming here? And is this an act of war? I'm not an expert on international law. And when we haven't declared war on anyone. So what gives us the legal ability to just kill 11 people on a boat in international waters that aren't firing on us?
I'm sure we have some...
Yeah, I'm going to look into that.
Going on. We've got criminal defense attorney Jen Bukowski in for Stephanie Bell now. Going to do some criminal defense work here. Maybe before the end of the program.
Maybe I'm going to be defending Trump. You don't know.
Is this pro bono? I don't know. When we come back, was Trump dead? It was rumored all weekend. He had some thoughts.
I think just local news is the most important stuff.
Remember over the weekend, if you were doing a little doom scrolling, sometimes on these weekends when you're just kicking back, and I know when I'm tending the smoker box with the authentic charcoal, I haven't broken down and bought the pellet grill yet because I don't know. It's just, I don't want to go through the same guilt complex I had when I went from the compound bow to the crossbow. It's just like I thought, man, I'm just less of a man, you know.
What are you calling guys at home with guns in?
I had someone tell me yesterday, we were talking about smoking, and he said, yeah, I bought the pellet grill. I just don't feel the same. But he said it is nice. You set it and forget it. And, you know, you can change the temperature with your phone, you know.
Is that the egg thing?
No, Traeger is one brand, but I think Rec Tech is another brand.
Why don't you use gas grill?
It's just, I don't know. It's just not the same. It's sort of like using an SD card instead of, it's like using a chip camera instead of a real film camera. You know, it's just not the same.
I need to learn how to. I cook, but I don't know how to grill. Brant always manages the grill, so if something happens to Brant, I'm going to need to be looking some YouTube videos up of how I'm supposed to grill things.
I have a propane grill for just throwing a steak on because it's after work and I have half an hour to.
You know what? We've been doing a lot of brats and hot dogs. You know, some corn on the cob, baked beans. It's like nice. So fast to make and so yummy.
It is
out by the pool. I'm so sad summer's over.
Well, doesn't have to be over.
It's kind of over. I mean, it's past. I'm wearing white shoes, even though it's after Labor Day. I violated that
You're
law.
a sovereign citizen. You can do whatever you want.
I'm not a sovereign citizen. I'm a citizen of the United States of America and a Missourian, and I'm proud of it.
That pushed
a licensed member of the Missouri Bar.
Okay, so anyway, I got sidetracked there. No, actually, I've had some of the best ribs ever that people have made, friends and family, on their pellet grill, because you can put in different wood flavored pellets. You can get apple wood pellets, oak, hickory pellets, and you get consistency that way. But anyway, so I started seeing this thread over the weekend. It's been all over the news. People claiming that Donald Trump, because of the bruises on his hands and the swollen feet, and then, oh my goodness, it sort of was less active for a day or two. Oh, maybe Trump's dead. Could it? Well, he was asked about that by Peter Doocy in a little news conference the other day when he was holding forth.
How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. I have heard it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do him for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape.
It's always fun to see J.D. Vance behind him because, you think of, well, here's the president flanked by, this is when he was announcing the Space Force move. And everything is sort of a serious tone, and we're moving the whole Space Command from Colorado to Huntsville and blah, blah, blah. And then Vance just breaks up. And it happened in Europe when Rubio was behind him. They were talking about something. He told some joke, and Rubio, couldn't keep a straight face. The guys
We're going to miss Trump. We just need to enjoy these days of Trump, because I feel like we're going to be talking about it the rest of our lives.
But in his own way, Vance has a clever humor about him too, and I think he's got a very everyman kind of a style. I think he'll be effective as well. I don't think we have anything to. I think Vance is the heir apparent, don't you?
Oh yeah, he's been groomed for the big seat.
Yeah.
As is Rubio keeps getting mentioned.
Well, yeah, Rubio's pretty glib too. There's no doubt about that. Well, and then so you contrast Trump sort of taking it lightly and making fun. Well, like, man, I take a day off and, I'm dead. And Biden, took months off between. No one, you fake newsers, you didn't say anything. He went on to a pretty good diatribe about fake news. They caught Tim Walz in a moment of just absolute, what is wrong with this guy? This guy, I'm so glad that Kamala Harris picked him for the running mate. I mean, he's just such a loser.
And we continue to fight for the middle class. So thank you all for coming out today. Thank you for believing in these times. Because, look, I get it. you get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things. And although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know. There will be news.
How sick and twisted, right? I mean, hoping that the president's dead just because you lost.
Is that what he was referring to?
Yeah, this was on Labor Day.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That is pretty
just
wrong.
saying, someday there will be news. Yeah, you're hoping there's some news. I mean, really? Is that the best you can come up with, you loser?
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's just a political loser.
I don't understand how some of these people get elected, like Tim Walz.
You read my mind.
I've been involved in politics for a long time, so I can attest to the fact that there's a lot of strange people that are very involved in politics. But how they get picked to be governors of their states, or, Bernie Sanders has somehow forever been a U.S. senator from Vermont, and it just boggles the mind. And then we have another senator.
What's the matter with Bernie? You don't like Bernie? Bernie's a good guy. Come on. He's thinking of the people.
We have another, as we used to say in the day, confirmed bachelor senator getting engaged this weekend. Did you see this? Cory Booker.
Oh, yeah.
So we had Tim Scott, I was like, Tim Scott's engaged. Okay. And now Cory Booker, too.
Presidential run.
I didn't think that. Yeah, maybe.
Got to be a family man, right? Got to have a family.
But he's already a U.S. senator, so wouldn't he have needed it for that? I guess
apparently not.
Maybe. I think they're also looking at that Wes Moore.
Yeah.
They're trying to see if he has any legs to go with, and he's hanging out on George Clooney's boat over in Lake Como. Did you see this?
Yeah, meanwhile,
his use of the $100 million property, all the servants and everything, and he's just hiding out.
There's carnage in Baltimore over the weekend, right?
Yeah,
And
he's hiding out. And Clooney isn't even there.
Remember when there was the natural disaster in Texas and in Houston, and Ted Cruz was somewhere because he had something to do, and he got crucified.
Long scheduled vacation.
Yeah, long scheduled vacation.
And he's not governor of the state, by the way, so he's not in charge if they have a hurricane hit.
Now, speaking of weird people in politics, I mean, and thank God he's not running again. Jerry Nadler. He's stepping down.
Yeah, I saw that.
You see that?
Yeah. I also saw Joni Ernst, who's only 55 years old, is not running.
Yeah, what is that all
Whereas
about?
Chuck Grassley from her state, who's 91, is not ruling out another run.
He's doing well, though, I mean, he really is.
It's a 6-year term, Randy.
But think about the whistleblower thing that he's done. I mean, he's done a great job on the IRS whistleblowers.
But it's I think it's selfish and greedy when you're that old to run for another term.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Like
There's
Feinstein or McCain.
Little ageism with Jennifer Bukowski here. Wait a minute.
If you're pushing 100 years old.
Well, modern medicine is miraculous.
Not that miraculous, not yet. Maybe 50 years from now you could be running when you're going to be 100 during your term, but we haven't reached that era of medicine yet.
I'd have to look at his medical chart. I don't know. People live to be 100.
Well, he would be. I got to look this up.
John's on the show.
Careful.
It's so fun. John is the most spry 50-year-old I know. I'm telling you.
That's
amazing.
Right. And if you don't believe me, I'll sick Drake on you.
But I just thought, I mean, this is the problem with the Democrats. You go back to what Walz said. You could have made a joke about it. And especially if you didn't just if you weren't just a part of a coalition trying to succeed, truly an ineffective, a president who was absolutely out of touch and was, for all intents and purposes from a leadership position, mentally dead. I mean, then to go talking about Donald Trump being dead and you can't wait, you can only hope. I mean, it's something moribund about that.
You know what? And you think the guy's a workaholic, works around the clock. It's Labor Day weekend. He takes a day off, obviously, to go golf, spend some time with the family or something, and they spread a rumor like that. Whereas Biden was missing in action all the time. They never complained because they didn't want him out and they didn't want him around. But it shows you they miss it. They miss Donald Trump when he's not around, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, where's our Donald? They've got this hate fixation with Donald Trump. Like it's a drug still to them. And they're like, where is he? What's going on? But okay, I looked it up. Chuck Grassley would be 95 when he'd start his term and 101 when he'd finish it if he ran in one.
Yeah, when the punching bag is gone, they're disappointed, right?
Yeah.
When they don't have a punching bag of the day, oh my gosh, what do we do?
Yeah. Trent Moss is like, well, what am I going to say when I go on stage? He hasn't said anything yet today.
Well, don't forget, we're going to talk with, make this program, whatever you're doing at 7:05, you want to be with us because Mike Keogh, the governor of Missouri, is going to be with us and talk about the special session.
Yeah,
And,
which is huge news.
Yeah.
It was like a double birthday gift or something because IP reform and a 7-1 map, that's a 2-vote swing that we're going to give Mike Johnson if we pull that off.
plus, Texas has already done their redistricting
Yeah, that's
thing.
a 10-vote swing.
Now, but Gavin Newsom's going to fight back, right? And
They only
gonna
have so much to work with because they already did what we're doing now.
Yeah, but
and his has to go before a vote of the people.
Uh-huh. Which he's quite smartly, I think, using as an opportunity to quote unquote run against Trump because Trump won't be on the ballot next time. So if he wants to run for president, if he wins this, he could be like, "See, I beat Trump," and he's casting this whole issue as him against Trump in California, which it's not. But that's how he's framing it.
yeah, I don't know. I just think that even though it may be a little bit unorthodox, it's not the usual way to do this. It's been done before. The Democrats have done it before in mid-census. They keep saying this is unprecedented. It isn't. So I don't think they have a leg to stand on, especially when the
I looked into it legally for Missouri because the Chuck Hatfield and Jim Layton, they're running their mouths off about, it might be illegal. They're going to challenge it. Their whole case relies on dicta from some case involving Peter Kinder from, 10, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
Where they said, and shall be the map until the next census. But that's not based on anything in the Constitution. It was dicta, and the Constitution doesn't limit our ability to do this. Other states have limits on their ability to do mid-decade censuses. We've never imposed that on ourselves. There isn't one. I think we'll be fine if and when they sue.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Well, we'll talk with the governor at 7:05. Zach Smith I know you know Zach.
Heritage.
Good friend of yours, and we're going to talk with Zach about some of the new things coming out. And what about this case with Lisa Cook at the Feds? Interesting deal.
I talked about that on my show.
We've got some other stuff. Good. So we'll talk with him at 8 o'clock. Stay tuned for Make Missouri Healthy Again. We'll ask about, can you over-fiber it? Maybe. We'll see.
This is Wake Up Missouri.
your diet. We've talked about that before. Fiber is important. There's two different types. There's the soluble fiber, kind that you find in oatmeal, for instance, and there's the insoluble fiber. That's the kind that my mom and her mom used to call roughage. Got to get your roughage. So when you eat your raw fruits and vegetables, or even cooked, as long as it's not the kind that you can gum like in a nursing home.
Is that which one prevents constipation?
Well, both in some way, but the roughage is really good at that because it promotes transit through the bowel, which is good.
So that's the vegetables.
Yeah, and so your fruits and vegetables, beans are a good source like that. You've been eating
baked beans, yeah.
Now, but the baked beans, especially if you buy them sort of in the can, and there's a lot of added sugar and stuff in there,
That's probably why I like them.
That's what you might call the fiber halo effect. So there may be fiber, but you get all that added sugar in a lot of these products. And you'll find this in many products that say they tout like 10 grams of fiber, 5 grams of fiber, a lot of fiber. Well, but often there's emulsifiers in there and some of these things that RFK properly talks about as ultra-processed foods. So you're getting some fiber, but you're also getting some of the stuff that may negate some of the benefit there, right? So, again, it always goes back to I love when a patient comes in the office and, on their initial questionnaire, we have a different one. It's not the typical questionnaire. It's like, so tell us about your diet, And people, I love when I see clean proteins, whole foods, very little processed foods, because I know that they're getting natural sourced foods without, taking it out of a crinkly package somewhere.
Now, how often do your patients lie to you about that stuff, their diet?
I don't know. I think.
Do you drink any alcohol? Oh, maybe 1 glass a week, doctor.
It's estimated that people probably underestimate. Well, what we found, what's really true. So anyway, when you eat the fiber, try to get it from the better fiber source, which is the whole food, right? Take your sprig of broccoli, whether it's frozen or fresh, and just cook it gently and eat your broccoli. Make it nice and crisp. It's a good piece of broccoli for you. Rather than getting a bar that's extruded out of a machine that looks like something out of
bar.
like a Play-Doh machine, I mean, that's just not the same because of the things around it.
That seems common sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And consuming large amounts of some specific fibers could lead to excessive growth of bacteria in your gut, which may throw off your balance too. So you have to be careful. I think it's just important to gradually increase your fiber intake from a variety of sources. Don't be married to one particular type. Again, variety is the spice of life, right?
Could I ask you a question? What do you think of probiotics to help regulate, the gut and the bacteria?
Probiotics are good. The problem is that you're probably better off, again, to get them from fermented foods. So things like sauerkraut or kimchi, or if you like
pickled beets.
Yeah, if you like a little fermented drink, kombucha is a nice little drink that you can get. Very low alcohol, but a little bit of fermentation there. We like that kind of stuff. Miso, soy. There's fermented soy products as well. And these are the kind of things that are good. We have a couple of scientists that we followed for a while that are really into the microbiome, and they really help make it so important for us to understand that bacterial component in our gut is so important. And you see them. I saw a video. They're proud of the fact that in their garden, they say, if you have your own garden, many of our audience does. A lot of our listeners have a garden. And, and with some exceptions, you got to be a little bit prudent about this. But they say, don't be so careful about picking the stuff off of your plant and then going in and washing it and spraying it. Eat it right off the garden. Just eat it right off the vine. A little dirt never hurts you. It's good. You get some microbiome that way.
Good.
Right?
Okay, that's good to know.
Right. I know when I walk through, Helene we've got some herbs and stuff, and I'll just walk out when I'm mowing the lawn and I'll grab some basil or mint or whatever, just throw it in my mouth, just eat it. I don't care if a bug landed on it. It's some
protein.
Healthy microbiome there. Let's make Missouri healthy again. Keep it close to the source and you will be happy, and so will your gut. When we come back at 7:08, the governor of the state of Missouri, Mike Keogh, joins us. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us as the session starts this morning. Appreciate you being with us.
Hey, guys. Always good to be on with you this morning. Thanks for having me.
Jennifer Bukowski's in for Stephanie Bell. I'm Randy. There's Drake and John and the whole gang's here, and I know all of Wake Up Missouri is really excited to I guess, ask the fundamental question, Governor, and that is, would you call a special session if you didn't have a really good idea that both the headline issues on the agenda, redistricting and initiative petition reform, isn't going to make it across the line?
Well, first of all, Randy, I want to know, is Jen Bukowski an upgrade from Stephanie or an equal, or how do you...
You have the right to invoke your Fifth Amendment on that one.
I'm entertaining the briefs right now, and I'll make a judgment later. Well,
Jennifer has done a wonderful job for us in our state in a special mission helping conservatives, so I'm grateful to have her on. As you know, Stephanie's a good friend.
Absolutely.
To answer your question, this has been on the minds of many Missourians for a long time, so this is not like a new conversation. Initiative petition reform is something that we need to sorely do. We have these, I would call them left-wing groups, mainly from the East Coast, that are influencing our ballot with millions of dollars collecting signatures and changing our Constitution very quickly without really Missourians understand who these groups are, what's behind these actions. It's just too easy to do. I want citizens to have access to the ballot. I'm sure everybody in that radio station wants citizens to have access to the ballot. But this just makes the bar a little bit tougher to achieve and make sure that Missourians really get what is on the ballot and vote for it. So initiative petition reform is something I've been talking about for years. The legislature's been talking about for maybe a decade. It's definitely something we need to do to make sure we still have access to the ballot, but that Missourians actually approve what goes before us. And then the redistricting, same thing. It's a conversation that's kind of been a hangover from 2002 when we, had the last maps out there. It wasn't very, didn't go through very well. It was very contentious. There was a lot of ideas, a lot of different versions of the maps. And as you know, the Missouri Senate was pretty bogged down for months in that conversation. And no matter which side of that conversation, everybody who was involved in that remembers, nobody was happy with the way the maps came out. So those are two things we think, and because of the timing of when somebody would run for Congress, the incumbent in all of our congressional districts still live in their districts. We wanted to make sure that they understood, if that were to pass, what the borders of their districts would be.
So do you think, unlike last time with initiative petition reform, it didn't get through, and with the map, we didn't get the 7-1 map this last time in 2022. Do you think that this will be different with a new special session?
Yeah, because you're focusing, as you know, Jennifer, you're focusing on, just two issues here instead of in a normal session. You've got, dozens and dozens of different issues. There's a lot of leverage points for people to use in these conversations. So I think doing it in a special session probably gives it a clearer chance. Missourians understand what's happening, and the elected officials that represent their communities have a little bit better chance to focus on a couple of really key issues, I think.
Governor, the Senate Democrats are threatening to filibuster, to throw a big stumbling block in the middle of this. The Republicans making no secrets either about the use of the PQ. What do you think is going to happen when this gets to the Senate?
Well, John, as you know, a lot of things happen in that building that none of us can predict. You've been around a long time. I've been involved in a few of these negotiations on tougher issues over the years. I wouldn't make a prediction on how that all goes. I've said for years and years and years that building's about relationships, and I know that leadership will try to work through the issues the best they can. At the end of the day, Missourians did elect us to get a job done, and they've elected majorities clearly through all of the statewide elected officials in the House and in the Senate. A little over 90% of our county courthouses are led by Republicans. So, there is a conservative voice out there that wants to get to move the needle and actually get some things done. And I think that will be part of that conversation.
Governor Mike Kehoe joins us on Wake Up Missouri this morning. Governor, we saw recently that Senator Schmidt was able to get an infusion of FBI into St. Louis, the third, depending on the stats that you look at, probably the third highest murder rate per capita in the country. And on the heels of the success that just having the presence of law enforcement, various federal agencies, the National Guard in D.C., we've seen how empirically that has just absolutely throttled down crime in D.C. Have you considered some kind of similar action in St. Louis? Has the president contacted you about that kind of a thing? He's talked about rolling this out across troubled cities throughout America.
No, he has not contacted me, but I will tell you this. What we've done now with the St. Louis Police Board and establishing local citizens, helping the chief and his command staff improve the crime statistics in that area. As you know, if you look at the statistics for St. Louis, they're not where we want them, but they've gotten better over the last couple of years. The end of the conversation that needs to happen for St. Louis is there are over 300 officers down. And so what I would like to do, as well as community leaders, the police board, and elected officials on both sides, would be able to build up our police force in St. Louis City and St. Louis County and make sure the vacancies get filled and do what we can to help retain and recruit more officers. Certainly, the additional FBI help will be welcomed. Andrew Bailey going to the FBI, by the way, along with Senator Schmidt and his great efforts with Kash Patel, will be a welcome effort to get more agents out in the field, and they're doing that in various cities across the state. And last but least, I would say, is that we started a program back the day I was sworn in on January 13th called Operation Relentless Pursuit that is making a huge difference across the state, including in St. Louis City, where law enforcement officers are working together with sheriff's departments, community law enforcement, highway patrol, FBI, U.S. Marshals, et cetera, and they're swarming in areas and getting the really rough of the rough people out there with outstanding warrants. So we've got a few initiatives that we've been doing for the last several months that are working well. You can see those statistics on our DPS social media sites. I would encourage folks to look at some of the successes they've had in the collaboration between law enforcement to really get things cleaned up. So we need to get things going at a quicker pace. We need to get the resources we need in St. Louis City to hire more officers, but I believe that's what the local elected board will do.
If President Trump were to suggest, that you deploy the National Guard there like he may be doing with Chicago, would you do it?
I don't, Jenna, with all due respect, I really don't live my life in what ifs. I have to deal with reality. So that's not something that we've contemplated. It's not maybe a mission that our Guard would fit specifically. And I think we've got, again, with the other resources that we've talked about that we're putting towards St. Louis City, we feel like we've got a plan to get things cleaned up in a very good process there.
Listen to Wake Up Missouri. I'm Randy Tobler with Jennifer Bukowski in for Stephanie Bell, John Marsh, Drake Whitman, and our very special guest this hour, Governor Mike Kehoe.
Governor, what are you hearing from your legal folks over Chuck Hatfield's lawsuit saying that midterm redistricting is prohibited? What do they think of that suit?
Yeah, I mean, Chuck gets involved in a lot of litigation when it comes down to legislation, and he's well known for that. There's two sides to that argument. Our legal team and folks that we've asked to look at this feel like the legislature definitely has the ability to do that. So it's like a lot of issues that will get ironed out as it goes forward. And first things first, the legislation has to pass. And so we need to get that done. And anybody who wants to make a claim that it wasn't done appropriately, I'm sure will do so, and we'll defend it vigorously.
We have a couple of listener questions. I'd just like to relay this one to you, Governor, concerning Catherine Hanaway's appointment as the AG. A lot of folks listening here in mid-Missouri are concerned about the grain belt and the whole controversy around that, and how AG Bailey really had started an investigation into the reliability of statistics that were told to the Public Service Commission. Now, Catherine Hanaway has said that she's going to recuse herself. Would you expect that the people carrying on that investigation in that office will continue to have the same vigor and aggressiveness?
100%. It was a conversation I had with Catherine before this all went down. I realized what her client list looked like with her firm. She's been a very successful litigator. She's been very successful at bringing Republican majorities back into Missouri, starting back in 2002 when she was the first female Speaker of the House. And you heard her say at this press conference, we've talked it several times, the team that Andrew put in place at the AG's office is going to work with full vigor and my 100% support to make sure that they get property rights settled, and that some company that comes through northern Missouri and is not using the proper tools and is not really welcome on these century farms or a 40-year-old farm by using eminent domain. I fully support the Attorney General's team that he has put together to continue to work on that issue as hard as they have in the past, and they've done a great job of bringing some things forward.
Thanks for addressing that, because it's been really a constant text hit that we're getting. Now, the most important question perhaps that we might ask you before we let you go, Shags from our sister station down the hall at KCMQ said he keeps waiting for an RSVP card from the governor for his wedding. He's invited you to his wedding. Have you had a chance to fill out the card yet? Will you be coming to Shag's wedding?
Well, Shags came to my office personally and delivered that card.
No way.
And, even when he gave me that invitation, he got tongue twisted again. I said, Shags, what's this for? And he's kind of he all of a sudden froze up. So we did a really fun podcast with him and Brandon on conservation issues. We had a great time. I told him I love him to death, but we already had a commitment that weekend, and we are going to be sending maybe a cardboard cutout or something to make him nervous. I wouldn't want him to freeze up on his special day. Would you guys?
Boy.
Good
that'd
call.
be really unfortunate.
A good time.
We can't let that happen to Shags. We love that guy.
Thanks very, very much for being with us. Good luck on the special session. We'll be talking soon.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. And we appreciate you. The governor of Missouri on Wake Up Missouri this morning. We'll be back in just a few. And did you know that Apple Pay uses real money? I'll prove it when we come back.
You're listening
social, on Twitter, on Facebook, on whatever. Usually it's Twitter. You think this is real? And we were talking about Cory Booker allegedly getting engaged. I mean, is that true or is it a fake?
Well, he's engaged. But
he's engaged.
Yeah.
And so I saw this about, you see these things and they look so authentic. So I ran across this young woman who's crying, tearful. I mean, it looks so authentic. And it had me thinking, could someone really think that Apple Pay, you know how you load your card onto your phone, and does Android have the same thing? Can you do Android Pay?
Yeah, I think there's Google Pay.
Google Pay, okay. Not Android Pay, Google Pay. Yeah, and I'm comfortable with that. Helene isn't comfortable with that, but you load your card on there, and that's okay. I probably shouldn't be comfortable with it. It makes me nervous and thinking, doesn't the dark web have access to almost everything that you have on your phone or in your life or in your computer?
No,
it's
not. It's not as big of a risk as you think it is.
Really?
No, it's very helpful, especially.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, you can just use your phone now. Most places you don't need to bring your wallet in, which is very nice.
You can tap your phone.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at any rate, I ran across this and I thought, could someone really be this naive? I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine that that's the case, but maybe.
If you use Apple Pay, honestly, just be so careful. This is a little embarrassing to admit, but if this could help one person, then I'm really willing to share what my experience was.
Crocodile tears.
I'm just going to lay it out like this. When you use Apple Pay, that's real money. That's true American dollars from your credit card. If you have your credit card connected, that's where the money is being sourced from. It's not like a special form of Apple Pay, Apple dollars. Why they don't just say this is real money while you're paying, I don't know. Because I thought that I had accumulated a bunch of Apple dollars to use for Apple Pay by, spending so much time on my phone, giving my data very freely and willingly to any place that asks. Like whenever they say, are cookies okay? I say yes, 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 because I thought that's how I was getting prizes. Getting rewards, getting Apple dollars. So I didn't think that was real money till I checked my credit card bill. I've been spending money like I'm a friggin' million.
Oops. And so I put that on our show sheet thinking, wow, maybe there are people out there that think that this is like, maybe because you use your phone, you are the product. What's been said about social media. You're the product. So maybe you're getting... And then I saw the readers added context to this video on X. The video was a skit by comedian Tina Vlamis, Vlamis. TikTok channel features several other similar comedy videos. So there you go.
I have an advantage being a community notes person.
Oh, are you?
I can see the community notes, and it takes sometimes like a day or two for the community note to be published at large because it has to go through this whole vetting, and they have to have people that they consider from both sides or whatever before they can get the community note posted. But this is not the first time where something that I'm already seeing there's a problem with you put on the show sheet. And I have to be like, Randy, you had the one black congresswoman singing her answers on
that's
it.
Right.
I'm like, that was a fake one.
Yeah, that was a
fake one. I saw the community note on that.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of like Wikipedia of X, right? I mean, there's people that contribute their thoughts, right? On X.
So they if people from kind of both sides of the political aisle, if it's political, are saying this is fake, then they'll put the note up.
All right. When we come back, Donald Trump flirted.
Has America been fair to Donald Trump? The people always know what's going on. I don't think the president
Today, yeah.
And then we talked with Governor Keogh at a little after 7. If you didn't get a chance to catch that, check it out on the podcast later on. Drake will have that up later. But he's optimistic things are going to work out on both counts. We'll see that the House gets it started today, and then next week the Senate comes into session, right?
Yep.
And Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin will be with us at 7:35 on Friday, so you want to tune in for that. Later on this day, 8:08, Zach Smith from Heritage will be with us to talk about some of the goings-on in the legal world. There's always a lot of that going on with judges. Again, a judge, did you see that where Judge Breyer's brother?
Oh. No, which
Justice Breyer's brother.
Oh, okay.
Stephen Breyer's brother, now retired Justice Breyer, brother, out in L.A. said that Trump didn't have any right to send the National Guard into L.A., and I don't know, but that's sort of a done deal now. I mean, but he put them in there to defend a federal building, right? So there's a lot being said about that. How does a local jurisdiction have anything to say if the president sends in federal law enforcement to defend federal assets? No problem there, is there? Constitutional?
I'd have to look into it. That's not something I've researched recently, but I can check out Breyer's opinion out there in L.A. and see what the issue was there. But yeah, it's kind of moot also because the time has passed and they might have saved L.A. burning down even more than they usually do with that move.
That's Jennifer Bukowski. She holds forth here on Sunday mornings, late mornings, and here on the Eagle.
Had a great interview, by the way, with the Secretary of the Attorney General to be, where she basically said she's going to keep the staff is going to retire. I thought that was a big deal, Catherine Hanaway.
And I thought it was interesting when we asked the governor about the grain belt. He was adamant, saying, I talked with her. I was adamant about, I mean, he made it, I don't know if he used the word adamant, but I got the between the lines was he wants to make sure that investigation goes on because Attorney General Bailey, former Attorney General Bailey, had alleged that there was some misrepresentations going on about the benefits of this project that the PSC heard.
Correct.
And he wants to make sure that those are accurate. And so,
and the Attorney General absolutely believes that, and he's still Attorney General through September 8th. Senator
through
Hall.
the 8th, I'm sorry.
So he's still technically Attorney General.
I thought it was the 2nd, but it's the 8th.
No,
right.
it's the 8th, but it's just another couple days, but I thought that was interesting, and the fact the governor said that, he's not said that. I haven't heard him say that publicly about, the governor talked to her privately about that. I thought that was significant.
Yeah. Well, in other immigration news that is hitting us locally, an illegal, when do I need to say allegedly? Do we know if he's illegal? What can I say? I mean, he seems to be an illegal alien from Venezuela.
Yes.
Was detained and has been arrested for a suspect in a Colombia ATM incident wherein he had $25,000.
Correct.
Is that right?
Allegedly.
That'll buy you a couple hamburgers.
In the vehicle. This is up at 93.9theeagle.com, and I have linked to the court documents. It's got a lot of attention, but I haven't seen any of the other media outlets mention the fact that ICE is involved in this. And this is straight out of the court documents here. I mean, it says federal ICE agents are going to be notified. You can read it for yourself. But Randy and Jen, here is the story. The immigration detainer has been filed against a man from Venezuela. The Columbia Police in the press release said he's from Brighton, Colorado, but he's actually from Venezuela. He may have some ties to Colorado. He was arrested at the bank ATM on Buttonwood Drive. It's the Missouri Credit Union Bank ATM Saturday night. They had 3 alarm calls. They went out twice, Randy. Police didn't find anything the first 2 times, went back the 3rd time, and he was allegedly in the car with $5,000 coming out of the machine, and they called the bank president, who I won't use his name, they use his initials. He said, that thing does not release that kind of money. It should not. $25,000 in the car, a lot of running laptops, computer equipment in the vehicle.
Holy cow.
And
high tech.
Yeah. And what Columbia police are saying is that they believe he is likely part of a criminal organization committing similar crimes nationwide. They don't elaborate much on, but I think this is significant, and it's in the court document. It says multiple, and this is in my story, 93.9theeagle.com, multiple ATM thefts have happened in several main cities in Missouri. They don't say who these two are. They say the court documents say 2 other suspects are in these other cases. They believe Hernandez Marino is working with someone who helps him break into the ATM. So we know ICE is involved. We know they say he's a danger to flee. He has no driver's license, and the immigration detainer has been filed. Apparent illegal immigrant.
This leads me to believe that you said there were computers whirring in the background, right?
Computers running. Yes.
So, like, maybe there might be listeners or would-be listeners in this area and maybe throughout Missouri whose identity has been stolen, right? They found a way to hack into debit cards or something. How else would he be having the machine spitting out money like, casino slot machine? How can the ATM.
The court documents don't say that, but
it's implicit.
It's a concern. It's a concern, obviously, with this computer equipment and everything. But and it says that what he told them, he told the officers, "I don't speak English." He says, "I want to go back to my home country of Venezuela."
Oh, yeah, right.
He also said he was traveling from Atlanta to Denver and was trying to get the money from the ATM to go home to Venezuela. And then it says, this is straight out of the court document, quote, "ICE will be notified as soon as the officers finish initial processing." Well, I can tell you they have done that. He did not have a driver's license. He has a Venezuelan ID. In a car with a Colorado registration. We don't know who it's and we don't know his criminal history because they don't have any way to look it up right now on this, but he's 21. His picture's up on this website. But the Columbia Police, they're flat out saying they believe he's part of a criminal organization committing crimes nationwide.
Now, it's reassuring to me that Columbia Police, he's held in the Boone County Jail.
Correct.
Columbia Police are doing the speaking here.
Columbia Police are doing the speaking. It is very hard. It's been traditionally hard to get a lot of information out of the feds on immigration issues. But I can tell you, you can go to the Sheriff's Department website, and I knew they had filed the detainer before the police said it because I could see when he's in the jail. I pulled his mugshot. It says immigration detainer. It mentions the charges, and it says no bond, and that's on there. So I have two different sources saying he's got a detainer.
How is he getting 5,000 at a time?
I am heartened by the fact that we're not a sanctuary city, that they, in fact, are calling ICE. That's nice to hear.
They are.
Thank you.
They are calling ICE, and I would say they already have, but the court document says as soon as the officers finish initial processing. So no doubt about that. ICE either has been or will be notified shortly. I would say they have been. Jen, to your question, and Randy, I think this ties in with your saying too, the police are being you could read the court document, and I know what they're doing here. They're being very careful, in my opinion, if you read this. They don't want to say too much about this larger ring operation. But it's clear what they're saying here. If you read it closely, folks, you can see this for yourself. But they're being very vague deliberately, I think, about how he was able to get the $5,000.
He should be waterboarded till they get the information out of him.
Out.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. This guy.
Randy, come on now.
No, well, Jennifer, come on now.
If you look at what Department of Justice has said about similar crimes like this, not just in Missouri, they point to Tren de Aragua.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly who they point to.
But how are they hacking these
Department of
machines? Like,
Justice.
even if you have a lot of money in your ATM, it'll only give you like $700 at a time. But they're getting these things to pop out $5,000 or $15,000,
perhaps 25. Now, and I think this ties in maybe with what Randy's saying, and I don't know, but it's in the court document. It said also inside the vehicle were electronic devices. Now, they don't elaborate on that. The Columbia Police in their release said running laptops. But
they have these tools that, if like you've heard about how when you go to the gas station, they can steal the RF stuff on your chip.
Yeah, they call them skimmers.
That's right.
Yeah, and look, okay, Jennifer, we're going to have this discussion. I'm looking at text from Jack.
Okay,
we were talking about Apple Pay, and we were talking about how convenient it is. The only downfall with Apple Pay is it happened to him yesterday. The iCloud account was hacked. Able to change his verification number, password. They kept processing charges till my credit card ran out. On the phone with Apple for 4 hours. They have no way I can recover my account. Now, look, I am sorry. I am till my dying day. We are not. I know you're a criminal defense attorney, and you know I'm very fond of you, Jennifer. But I am, and I respect you. These people should either have their fingers chopped off.
Oh my gosh!
There should be publicly, swiftly, severely. This guy should be waterboarded, whatever it takes to get the criminal.
Over money?
I am not. Money matters to people. Have you ever been a victim of this kind of thing? I have.
Yeah.
Have you ever been vandalized and theft and stolen?
I have.
My dad lost a tackle box, stolen out of our garage, a tackle box with some old Haddon vintage lures when I was a kid.
Off with their heads,
I am
then.
sorry.
They stole some
Off with their
antique
We are
tackle.
not tough enough on crime. I'm
Oh, my
telling you.
gosh.
Well, I know
we go
this.
soft on crime, and crime keeps happening.
He's going to be calling for Sharia
Laura,
law
I
next.
agree with Randy. John, amen, Randy. I'm not alone.
Well,
I'm not alone. We are too
Okay,
soft
you're going to
on
trust the government
crime.
to mete that out? You're going to trust our government to chop your fingers off if you do something wrong? You think they're going to
found
be
this-
okay?
I don't care if this guy is from...
They
from-
say that.
I don't
He
care if
hasn't
this
had
guy
due
lives
process
next to
yet,
you or
Randy.
this guy. I don't care if this guy's from Ashland. It matters not. If they caught him taking $5,000 that is not his, I'm sorry, swift and severe punishment publicly. Perhaps in the quadrangle of the college or Hickman High School. I'm sorry, I've had it with crime. I'm done with it.
Well, let me say this, and I'll leave you two with the policy
Wow,
issues on this.
I am
And
sorry. We should not put up with this crap.
And I know you're fired up, but Jennifer's correct, though. He is entitled to a defense. We don't think he has an attorney yet.
And then off with his finger.
He says here that the $20,000 is money he saved up in his 2 years of being here. Police said, what do you do for work? And he said, I clean cars and I clean houses. But clearly they don't buy that.
And he cleans out ATMs.
They don't buy that story.
And people's
because
lives are changed with this kind of stuff. I'm telling you.
Sure.
It's a big deal.
He's hacking the ATM software.
It's got to
someone's
stop.
saying.
Okay, maybe not off with their fingers. But, I mean, we need to do something with these people.
I appreciate you both.
Put a zip tie around his fingers then. For crying out loud, it's got to stop.
He's been arrested. He's in jail right now. He's getting deported.
With our prosecutors and our criminal justice system, he'll be out again. He'll be out again, and he'll do worse next time.
Oh,
John,
boy.
tell us about what you're baking up today.
How about too big a kid for the playground?
What? All right, let's see. We'll be back with more on Wake Up Missouri.
This is Wake Up Missouri.
15th was just another happy Saturday at Northeast Elementary School's playground in Vernon, Connecticut. Until it wasn't. A 40-year-old man became trapped in a tube slide and had to be rescued by the Vernon Fire Department.
Oof.
When first responders arrived, the unnamed man, probably good, was stuck in the middle of the slide. They provided him with oxygen, and ventilation fans were set up to cool the space. After 30 minutes, which included taking the slide apart, the man was rescued and refused medical care.
Yeah.
From the official report from the fire chief, we responded with a rescue truck, EMS, and a chief's vehicle. Our firefighters had to go to the nearby adult store and load up on a case of personal lubricant to, quote, facilitate the rescue.
Oh, Lord.
And now you know the rest of that story.
Oh, man.
It's not
and they
just
knew
for
right where to go,
Valentine's
apparently.
Day, yeah.
They knew right where to go. Oh, I know where we can get this stuff in bulk. Over at the corner in Elm and Fifth or whatever.
Those firefighters pretty quick thinking guys.
That's pretty cute. Hey, I have to remind everyone, it's already Wednesday. You know, it's a quick week because Monday, was holiday. So today's the last day to pick up your Tiger Tailgate Pass. And you may still want to check tomorrow because I imagine if they have passes, you can still pick one up. But go to Buck Heights in Columbia, Shangri-La Dispensary, Big O Tires, Hy-Vee, Play It Again Sports, Phyllis Nichols State Farm Insurance, Boone Hospital Wound Healing Center, Minutemen Defense, Break Time. You can find all of these sites and pick up your tailgate pass because without a pass, you don't get into the tailgate on Saturday on what is ahead of a huge, huge game. First time that we've hosted this in Columbia, since 2011 or something? It's been a while.
Sounds right, yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. And Mizzou's new pickleball team is facing off against KU's pickleball team Friday night, too.
Wow.
So
in Jefferson City, you can pick up tickets at Big O Tire, Shangri-La there, Buck Heights, Mexico, Graff and Sons, Lynn, Gasper 66, Fulton, Buck Heights. And so just check onto the website, and you'll be able to see where you can get these pass pickups. And you get some food and some adult beverages, too, some beer. The beer's there. Some cans of stuff, High Noon stuff, and some stuff there I saw.
Celsius, maybe some Celsius.
I don't know. I think it was High Noon and something else. Some like Bloody Mary stuff there was good. And other things. It was good. A lot of good fun there. I was there last week. I'll be there this Saturday. Starts a couple of hours before.
I stopped by too.
Right there with those darn border ruffians again.
I didn't see you. Did you stop by?
I did,
You didn't stop by and say hi. Yeah, the border ruffians. It's going to be a wild game. What is the line on the game?
Like whether we're going to win or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got about a 60-something% chance of winning. I mean, we're heavy favorites, but, this Kansas offense has been looking really good the last game and the end of the year last year. So I wouldn't call this a cupcake win, but, we're better. We're SEC, and they're a bunch of degenerate Jayhawks across the board.
Okay. So what is the among the various departments? So there's special teams, defense, offense, and even sub-departments. What might be a weak link in the Missouri Tigers this year? I mean, is there any, or is it a pretty solid, well-balanced team?
I mean, our O-line is probably our biggest problem, but, I mean, Kansas has to bring their best defense they've had in the past 10 years to stop us right now, so I'm not too worried.
So Prabula's pretty mobile, though, right? So
yeah, he's a stud.
You need that if you got an O-line that maybe isn't like a wall, right? I mean,
and we don't bring this up, but this is going to be a crazy game on the gameplay side because this hate has been festering in all of our hearts for 11 years. So, I mean,
well, and Tigers last year weren't real strong against the run defensively. So, but it is Kansas, so the heck with it.
Festering. Is the anger as much as me wanting to maybe,
It's worse. It's worse.
Take
right?
out people that,
much worse.
Much worse than my anger
goes
against
back
people
to the
that take
Civil
other
War.
people's stuff. Yeah.
Randy, you're never getting picked for jury duty again, by the way.
Good. Thank you very much. I hope everyone heard that out there in Judge Land, because that's the way I feel. I just don't think we're tough enough on crime. Hey, let's talk with Zach Smith about being tough on crime and other issues when we come back on Wake Up Missouri. Stay tuned. Day that is feeling more and more autumn-like. It's good to feel that crisp air as you walk out the door in the morning. Cool by night, and it's still warm by day, so really nice weather. Dry, and that's not good for you allergy sufferers, I know, but other than that, pretty nice weather. Zach Smith joins us now, senior legal fellow at Heritage and follower of all things SCOTUS and, well, across the legal landscape, also an author. And we appreciate you stepping aside and taking some time with us, Zach. Thanks for being here. It's been a while since we've talked.
Of course. Well, thanks for having me on the show this morning, Randy. Always good to be with you.
Hey, I saw your piece. Everyone's talking. We had the governor on earlier this morning, and we were talking about St. Louis and how, that's what third. Well, it was third. I don't know what the very latest statistic, but it's right up in the top tier of per capita murder rates. And with A.G. Bailey heading to the FBI, co-deputy director, and now with Eric Schmidt, Senator Schmidt, infusing some FBI. There's some hope there. The state has now more involvement in the police board there. General theme, more police on the ground means better law enforcement. We asked him about National Guard, and he didn't want to. He dodged that. He said he didn't want any part of that right now. That's not part of his deal. But yet it's working in D.C., and now the president is threatening to roll it out in Chicago and other places. You wrote a piece about this on Heritage website, heritage.org. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, you can also find that piece on my X feed at TZ Smith. That's at TZ Smith. But look, we know what works to combat violent crime, Randy. We've talked about it before. You need more police on the streets, empowering them to effectively and appropriately do their jobs. And then you need a prosecutor in office who is willing to prosecute people who break the law. And that's exactly what President Trump has done in Washington, D.C. The D.C. police force is currently short about 800 officers. That's almost 1,000 officers because of the local city council's decision to defund D.C.'s police force. And so what so much of President Trump is doing right now is trying to make up for that manpower shortfall. That's why you see the National Guard being deployed. That's why you see federal law enforcement agents patrolling the streets of D.C., because the D.C. police force just doesn't have the manpower. Now, in terms of prosecution, unfortunately, under the Biden DOJ, not a lot was being prosecuted in D.C., almost two-thirds of the cases that were sent to the local prosecutor's office of the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Washington, D.C., were declined. They didn't prosecute them. And so now you have Jeanine Pirro, Judge Jeanine in office, who's pledged that she will prosecute people who break the law. And again, I think the results are already speaking for themselves.
That's Zach Smith joining us on Wake Up Missouri this morning. Jennifer Bukowski's in for Stephanie Bell.
Good morning, Zach. Were you surprised to see that we've had not just one, but two Department of Justice employees fired now by Pam Bondi, the first being the attorney who assaulted a CBP officer with a sandwich on video. And then now we have a paralegal who came to work twice bragging about how she had cursed out the National Guard on her way to work, bragging at security. She's checking in for her job at the Department of Justice, fired. But then not only that, but a D.C. grand jury, even though the statute explicitly states if there's physical contact, that's a felony assault, refused to indict for a felony, and they had to reduce it down to a misdemeanor. Are you surprised?
No, unfortunately, I'm not, Jennifer. Look, last night I had a chance to listen to Harmony Dillon talk about some of the issues she's encountered since she took over the Civil Rights Division at DOJ. She had most of her workforce quit because they didn't want to work for the Trump administration. Particularly, they didn't want to actually enforce civil rights laws fairly and impartially, which is absurd to think about. And so,
I see that as an accomplishment by her that she got a couple hundred of them to quit, though, because don't let the door hit you on the way out. But we need to send good attorneys her way, obviously.
100% if she's recruiting. So if you're interested, sign up. But look, you're absolutely right, Jennifer. It is an accomplishment in and of itself in some ways, because the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ, the division that should be enforcing our civil rights laws, has notoriously long been one of the most partisan political branches of the Justice Department. most of the attorneys hired into that division, particularly within the voting rights section of the DOJ Civil Rights Division, have historically come from a handful of far-left organizations, the ACLU, La Raza, other left-leaning groups. And so it's no wonder we've had some of the distortions, some of the political type of lawfare we've seen over the past several years. So I say kudos to Harmeet Dillon, kudos to AG Pam Bondi for taking action against these Justice Department employees.
Yeah, one just wonders how many are still left and like smart enough not to reveal themselves, but are still undermining Harmeet Dillon and Pam Bondi from within.
Well, I suspect it's not an insubstantial number, and I think that's why it is so important for it's not even necessarily conservatives, but just lawyers who are committed to upholding the rule of law, who are committed to even-handed justice, to apply to go work and serve our country in some capacity at the Justice Department.
Zach, what do you think of the federal appeals court ruling that the Trump administration can't go after Trinidad Aragua and the other immigrant groups with the Alien Enemies Act? What do you think about that ruling?
I haven't had a chance to review it too closely yet. It was a lengthy opinion. There was a lengthy dissent by Judge Andrew Oldham. Now, Judge Oldham is a very good judge. He's a very conservative judge, a good originalist, a good textualist. And so I'm looking forward to reading Judge Oldham's dissent, where he essentially says the president can go after these groups. But I think it shouldn't come as a surprise. Look, Trinidad Aragua, many of these cartel groups really are functioning as almost terrorist-like organizations. They certainly terrorize the people of Mexico, the people of Venezuela, the people of Colombia, certainly terrorize many along the border, the crime, the chaos that has been caused as a result of them. I think most Americans recognize the grave harm that these organizations are doing, not only at the border, but across the country as well, not only in terms of the violent acts, but also in terms of the fentanyl, the other drugs they're trafficking into our country. And so I suspect most Americans support President Trump and his agenda to combat these violent, terrorist-like organizations.
We're talking with Zach Smith at TZ Smith on Heritage, also an author about Soros and his rogue prosecutors. It's a fabulous read. You can get that on Amazon. We got to talk about this Lisa Cook firing because, Zach, it's fair to say and to think about executive power and the consolidation and what's the proper balance of powers in the three branches of government. Because, you know, if one president consolidates it and they happen to be on our side of the fence, the conservative side of the fence, however you want to put, well, sooner or later there's going to be someone on the other side of the fence who then will try to gather and use that same power grab, you know, as a precedent. And I think it's a good discussion to have. That's the discussion surrounding the firing of Lisa Cook, a federal board governor. Where are we in that battle now? I know that there was an emergency court hearing that Abby Lowell, high-profile attorney, is arguing that the president doesn't have authority because the Fed is an independent agency. Where are we going with this, and what does it mean on the big picture as far as balance of power?
Well, look, Randy, I'll be honest with you. I don't necessarily share those same concerns about setting a precedent here. I think a precedent needs to be set. And the reason a precedent needs to be set is because the framers of our Constitution already says who should exercise the executive power of the federal government. And it vests the executive power, the entire executive power of the United States, in one person, the president of the United States. And there's a number of reasons for why that is the case, but particularly that way we, the American people, know who to hold accountable when something goes well, who to praise, and when something doesn't go well, who to hold appropriately accountable. And so whether we like what is happening, whether we don't like what is happening, we should be able to know at the end of the day who has the final say. And the problem with the Federal Reserve, the SEC, the FTC, many of these other so-called independent agencies is that these agencies and the people who work there are purporting to exercise executive power without the supervision of the executive, the president of the United States. And so that is what is problematic. I think Donald Trump is right to reassert the executive authority that the Constitution gives him. And that's fundamentally what this fight with Lisa Cook is about, what these other fights are about, is who has the power to exercise the executive power. Now, the one other thing I'll quickly say about the Lisa Cook firing, what's interesting there is Donald Trump, even though he invoked his core Article 2 powers under the Constitution to fire her, he also said that he was firing her for cause because of the mortgage fraud allegations against her. And so even setting aside those constitutional arguments, I think he set a good basis just on the statutory grounds to fire her as well.
I agree with you, by the way. I was just trying to get the other argument out there that's being made. You did a great job.
Too even-handed, Randy.
There you go.
Even-handed,
well, we try to be truth seekers here. It's always good to make the other side's best argument, and then our audience will then be well armed because of Zach Smith's described argument here. So that's a little brief. But you know what? To that point about the cause. Now I've got a criminal defense attorney sitting next to me, Zach, and usually she bristles when she hears that we're sort of making the judgment before there's been due process. There's alleged mortgage fraud. I mean, just because someone gets accused of something, is that enough cause?
Yeah, I was wondering, what's taking so long for them to file charges on that? It seems like the thing speaks for itself here. She, in 2021, within 2 weeks of each other, applies for 2 homes in 2 different states and claims both are the primary residence.
For that matter,
her own civil attorney isn't even denying
for that matter, what about Shifty Schiff and Letitia James?
Well, but they haven't been charged yet. But I wonder why it's taking so long for something that seems kind of open and shut to at least initiate the charges.
Okay, but is that really enough cause just because someone's accused of something?
Well, that standard has to be tested.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right. And I think Jennifer hit the nail on the head. You know, this for-cause removal provision, it looks different in different statutes. Some statutes say that these individuals can only be removed for misfeasance, malfeasance, abuse of office, or something to that effect. That's not what the Federal Reserve's Federal Reserve's governing statute says. It simply says that the president can remove for cause these individuals who serve on these various Federal Reserve boards of governors. Now, what that standard is, we don't really know. I think there's a very good argument that the president has very broad discretion in determining what that standard is. So we'll have to wait and see how this plays out.
All right. Well, there you go. Zach always has the answer to the toughest questions. That's why we enjoy talking with him. Stay in touch with him at TZ Smith on X. Thanks, Zach. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Thanks for having me on. Take care.
I threw him my best stuff, the high, hard fastball, and he hit it out of the park. Okay, well, that's why we have him on. And Jennifer's over here the whole time nodding, going, yep, that's right. You got it right. When we come back, it's time for the market report. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Wake Up Missouri.
Well, there it is. Time for the morning bell. Yesterday, the markets were down. Dow Jones down by 0.5%, the S&P by a little more, and NASDAQ way down by almost a percentage point. Today, things are rebounding on pre-market trading. Some of that may be driven by Alphabet. That's Google parent. Their stock is up in pre-market trading. You know, there was this antitrust case against them, Jennifer, and they avoided a harsh antitrust penalty, a breakup, and so they prevailed in that case. So Google will continue to dominate and be strong. Traders like that in pre-market trading. Dow is off a hair, but S&P and NASDAQ both up significantly. Oil continues to just drift in the mid-60s, but I'm not seeing that reflected in the pump as much. I'd like to see those prices come down, wouldn't you? Perhaps as we get off the summer mix of the gasoline, it'll go down even further. That would be nice. The lowest over the holiday weekend in, 4 years, I think. So maybe we'll see a little decrease as some of those summer mixes go away. Not sure when that occurs. We'll have to talk to our friend Larry Behrens about that. And Jennifer, you were talking about the story that even though the earnings are staying up, despite fears about tariffs driving company earnings down as they try to, hold back on having the retail customer feel the impact. They're combining job cuts, not good for if your job's getting cut. Some price hikes have fueled this season's bumper earnings. Consumer spending isn't driving company profits as much as expense reduction and efficiency drives. Now, in another story, Drake, you'll like this one. A survey says that Gen Z spending for Christmas this year will be down for the holiday season. It seems far off, but it's really not. We're only a couple months away.
I was listening to Christmas music this morning. I'm not even kidding.
I don't know how to answer that.
I'm delusional.
Were you drinking your pumpkin spice latte too?
Oh no, never.
Holiday spending, especially by Gen Z, is expected to drop this year, says a survey. Now, this is just one survey.
You know what I've noticed about them? They seem to be more focused on experiences. They're like I don't know if it's anti-materialistic, but they don't want something off Amazon. They want like tickets to a show or experiences instead of things.
It's not the old mantra, John, you and I grew up, and I think until probably, the early 2000s, he who dies with the most stuff wins, right? And no more. Not true.
Most toys wins, right? Yeah.
My tractor has more horsepower than your tractor. Yeah, I don't know. It's so is that true experiences? But still, that's spending. You can spend a lot on experiences.
It's more of a pain in the butt than just ordering someone something off Amazon if you got a bunch of gifts to buy.
All right, listeners, if you want to give me an early Christmas present and you have some extra KU tickets, please drop them off at the office here.
Oh, that's a story.
Everyone and their mother wants KU tickets this weekend.
And that's an interesting story. When we come back, MU students, at least many of them, are furious over the new MU student ticketing policy.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to talk about that when we come back, because I think perhaps the administration, now they claim that they communicated this, but even if they did, I must be missing something, but it sounds like the students have a legitimate gripe. We'll talk about that when it comes to ticketing, MU administration, and the policy leaving some students off of the big game ticket queue. We'll be back. announcement that the Space Force's command is going to be moving from Colorado to Huntsville, Alabama, the home of rocketry and the rocket program in the United States. Trump's not happy with their mail-in voting there, and it's corrupt, so that's part of the reason he's doing that. He's like a parent that punishes you if you don't do the right thing. By golly, you're going to pay a price. And they took out a Tren de Aragua boat. Jennifer, who's in for Stephanie, says, wait a minute, did we know those were Tren de Aragua people? Where was their due process? I
haven't really seen our military take out a drug boat and kill 11 people before, have we?
Well, I've read that previously they took out their motors. They just disabled them. But
not just bomb them into oblivion from the sky?
When it comes to these Tron, I think they have a pretty good beat on that. And if they take them out and make them into just an oil slick of their former selves, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's usually why they've got, when they go after the druggies, they have Coast Guardsmen on board because they're not Department of Defense, they're Homeland Security, and they're the ones who are deputized and have the law enforcement authority to go in. So that's what the questions are all about on this one. If the military overstep their authority. Yeah.
Now, there is, I read about some indignant students at the University of Missouri who paid $200 for a zoo pass, but some pass holders didn't get tickets to the Mizzou-Kansas game. Now, apparently this May, Mizzou Athletics announced a new claims process to its zoo, that's ZOU, pass offerings. In the past, the pass gave purchasers immediate tickets to all home football games, women's and men's basketball games. I say good. Students first. Mizzou, rah-rah. If they're going to go to Mizzou, if you're going to go to Missouri State, hey, students ought to have first choice and get there and have a seat, right? Doesn't it make sense? That was the former policy.
And they have to pay for the privilege. They don't get them free.
So it's like you have it's like the Zoo Pass is a license to buy the other tickets, right?
So the Zoo Pass, it gives you the chance to get the tickets nowadays. Is how it works now.
Well, no. But in the past, it gave
you got one for everything.
Yeah, you got one for everything.
If you wanted it and could pay for it, you'd get a ticket. Or was the pass?
I think you just get all the tickets, didn't you?
So in their quest for increasing revenues to pay for buying athletes that should be amateurs but are paid as professionals, editorial comment there, the Mizzou has decided that now, instead of getting a ticket, students have the, quote, opportunity to receive tickets. There's a possibility that students who have purchased the Zoo Pass, which was purchased at $200, will not receive a ticket. So it was like the Apple phone queue. They were told that at 8 a.m. the queue is going to open, and you have to stay online. Don't leave your computer. Don't go do it. Sounds crazy. Maggie Alexander, a junior engineering student at MU, Columbia native, said she's attended every home game since she was born. Since she was born? Wow. Determined to claim her tickets and keep her 2-decade-long attendance streak alive, she waited in the queue. She waited for 2 hours on the first day of school. I was walking around with my laptop open, connected to my hotspot so I could actually go to class. Then I tried to get it for the KU game. It didn't work at all. It said you'd been put in a random spot in the queue. That's not good. That doesn't sound right. Now, what's going on here, Drake?
So I have two problems with this process. One, this is the first time we're using this queue process, so there's obviously going to be bugs. Like, I know for the first game, there was a lot of problems with people being able to go in the queue early, and that the queue started at this time, but the guy got on it like 5 minutes before and saw that the queue had already started and heard that it had gone on for many hours before. So, these are just bugs with the system, but I think the system just doesn't work. Having a random queue, I know that bigger schools and like other schools like Georgia, let's say, they have a black pass and they have a red pass. And they split the games half and half so that all the students are trying to go to the Kansas game. They can get passes for the Kansas game and the Auburn game and maybe the A&M game. And then on the other side of it, the other half of the students got the Alabama, A&M, like the other half of the school. So they split it up evenly, and I think that's the way that we should do this. But this is terrible because we only have one really passionate game this season.
The May 5th, Associate Athletics Director Dave Matter said Mizzou communicated the change at the time of Zoo Pass purchases throughout the summer in weekly reminders. Columbia Missourian says the May 5th news release posted to Mizzou Athletics website announcing the Zoo Pass did not specifically mention the claims process. So they're talking about, I think that they're dismissing this as they have reduced capacity because of the construction, right? And allegedly they don't have enough seats to accommodate all the students. Now, how many seats are still in the stadium as a result of this?
I don't have a number, but they did cut off.
50,000?
Yeah, sure. Let's say 50,000.
How many students go to Mizzou?
About 30,000.
Why can't they just say we're reserving 30,000 seats, and if you don't claim it by June 1st, July 1st, August 1st, whatever, then we're opening it up to the general public?
Yeah, I like that.
Doesn't that make sense?
Well, the whole shebang is paid for by alums, so you got to reserve some for alums.
I thought this was a student. I thought Missouri University was for students, for academic success, for college, camaraderie, and for team spirit. So, I mean, the alums, great. So alums can watch it on TV. They can afford a pass to the big TV, big screen, go sports.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would much rather have 30,000 rambunctious students in an SEC stadium than, maybe 5,000 of those students and a bunch of alums who are upwards of, 50, 60, 70 years old that can't handle the noise. Like, I mean,
got two words for you in that department: season tickets. And Mizzou sells 40,000 season tickets.
Well, what if this year they sold fewer season tickets to allow room for the students? Oh, forgive me, they're now having to spend $21.5 million on buying players. Oh, I forgot about that. I mean, I'm sorry.
I actually have a really interesting story about
this. It's all about the money instead of about the sport and the sportsmanship and the team and the college spirit. It's all become professionalized. And that's driving these decisions. That's my opinion.
So I have a really interesting story. So the University of Middle Tennessee, what they've done to combat like these NIL, like you're spending so much money on players, these big schools, they're a smaller school. They are having their students go out to the community, do commercials, endorse things, and like they gave prizes for whatever group, like special teams. They recorded a commercial, but the offense, they went out and did all this, and they're raising the money. They're not getting multiple uniforms. They have 2 uniforms, a home and an away, and they're trying to cut back on as much spending as possible and, send the students out there to help the community, which is what NIL was for. And now it's nothing like that.
Yeah, and I understand that alums have a voice in it, and they drive a lot of it. But, I mean, have we gotten to the point where really everything is just about the money instead of about the... Can't you field a good team without the gazillions and gazillions of dollars? And then that has ripple effects for the everyday people. It's
all about the TV revenue.
Well, this NIL stuff, I think I agree with because I thought it's wrong. I saw a star basketball player, this is years ago. We ended up giving him a ride from the Kansas City airport back home. The kid's making millions and millions of dollars for the university, doesn't have $50 for the shuttle bus.
Wow.
Like he's broke? Yeah. How is that right? He works like over 40 hours a week, at least, probably more than that, playing basketball, practicing basketball, looking at tape, and they were getting paid nothing. So I think it's a lot more fair if they're bringing in buku dollars for them to have a chance to get some money to support themselves.
And I enjoy a great game or performance as much as the next person, but are colleges predominantly to grow professional athletes? Or are they to have athletics as an extracurricular to support a healthy body and a healthy mind? Because scholarship is what college is about.
And the argument we've made about that before is you go to college to learn a career, presumably, and these athletes, a lot of them, not a lot of them, but if they're able to, they go into professional athletics, and that's their career path.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I've been kind of in your position, Randy, where I'm like, isn't it just too much about football? But I'm seeing results now. Like our enrollment's way up. As our football team does better, the university does better, Columbia does better. I mean, you do see returns on that investment.
John agrees with you. He says, Randy, you live in a dream world. Thank you. I proudly wear that. Alums pay for stadium improvements and give billions to school.
Okay. How much?
And then the better the football team does, the more people who come, then we have more alums, and we prosper
I love
as a
the football
state.
game. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I just think
game tickets are all sold out. We sold 40,000 season tickets, broke the record this year.
Let's not judge everything based on the scarcity of the KU tickets either. Yeah. Let's keep that in mind. Like, this is a hot game this weekend.
Laura
big
says,
time.
yes, this isn't right. Students first. The college is there for students. It's all about money, not fun anymore. I don't know.
I think those students are having plenty of fun. Yep.
Well,
There's
how
a
much
lot of
money
kids
do the
having
students
fun.
bring in through tuition? I mean,
not much.
What do you mean not much? 30,000 students paying over $100,000 for an education?
I don't think everyone's paying that.
But, I mean, the university still gets the money. They might not be paying it, but they're getting it through grants and scholarships and all these other things. So, I mean...
It's a great university, don't get me wrong.
Not all the kids want to go to the football game either, though.
Where could $21.5 million be distributed in terms of scholarship, in terms of political science, criminal justice, attorney, journalism, science? There's other places it could be. Now, maybe those other places are very happy and well-funded. They probably are. So no argument. I don't know. What do the academic pursuits say about NIL spending and about the purchasing of amateur athletes as though they were professionals?
You'd have to ask them.
What do they say?
That's a very good question.
573-874-9390. If any of Tony Lupo's friends are listening, tell us what Tony thinks. We need to. I say I want $21 million for the meteorology department.
How are they at football?
Let's see. Oh boy, I'm not reading Dwayne's thing. Oh boy, that's not fair.
Well, this article you posted here about ChatGPT usage plummeting, that's a pretty interesting one for us to...
Dwayne doesn't have kind things to say about athletes' intellectual capacity. A lot of them can't pass a test or class without paying a tutor. Okay, well, I don't know. Look, it's going to be a great game, and we hope to see you at the Tiger Tailgate. It's always a lot of fun, and we just hope that they kick some butt against KU. Can we all agree on that?
Amen.
All right.
M-I-Z.
Z-O-U. Leftovers when we come back.
This is Wake Up
leftover plate?
Well, this one, the courtroom sketch artist apparently will be working overtime. We have now heard from the judge who says he will not allow any video or audio recording in his Franklin County courtroom, and that's during the trial of the man accused of killing the Herman police officer and wounding the other officer, and the trial of Kenneth Simpsons to start in Franklin County in January, but no cameras in the courtroom, as they say, for that one.
Wow. That's something, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty high-profile case.
Yeah. Jennifer, what do you have?
Well, the article you found, Randy, was pretty interesting about how ChatGPT usage went off a cliff when the kids get out of school. So we know who's using ChatGPT the most. It's the school. They were out for the summer and all of a sudden had less questions for ChatGPT.
There's sort of a cat and the mouse thing going on between professors at the college level, teachers in high school, and the kids using AI, right? Because they're trying to keep up with them with, I guess there's software that can help detect whether it was written by AI or not.
Yeah, but can it though?
No, well,
Not really.
It uses AI to detect AI, and sometimes these AI that views the document. I've seen people who have actually wrote their paper and it got flagged for plagiarism.
Yeah, that happened to my son.
Yeah,
Really?
It is just it's just all kind of guesswork, So
we talk
but
about.
you can read stuff. I can read stuff, and I can tell
Yeah, you
that
can
this
tell.
person had this email drafted by AI or whatever. I can tell sometimes.
Aren't some teachers and professors going to writing your stuff in class or on the test, for instance?
Yeah, my kid. They don't even get the essay prompt until the day. This was last year. His teacher was explaining it till the day of where they have to write their thing. They don't even get the prompt in advance, so they can't have ChatGPT write something that they memorize and write.
Wow.
Yeah, they get it right there, and then they have to sit there and write it.
That's good.
But then with a pencil like that, for me, I'm so used to being able to type and revise, that would be kind of burdensome. But
Number 2, Everhard Faber. Yeah, I like that.
I like that. I know
that's
that
gonna be hard on the teacher to read it. My kid's handwriting is not great.
I like that Google Docs. They have a program now where you can go through the entire thing and have a video almost of the doc as it's being filled out. You can see all the copy and paste. You can see them actually typing stuff. So I think that's going to be big.
Yeah,
and just
that will be
watching them
big.
do it.
In a little known story, did you know that Donald Trump was caught flirting with Katie Couric? Yeah.
In what,
Newsflash,
1990?
President Trump is alive and clearly well.
Well, I would say that's pretty obvious. I'm healthy as a horse. Many people are saying that. Look at Katie Couric. She can't even stop smiling because she wants to kiss me. She's a beauty. Katie Couric worked for MSDNC. We said it last time. She worked for CBS, which are failing networks. You know what's not failing? My heart. They're saying I was in trouble. They're showing pictures. You're part of the fake news. They're showing pictures. I'm alive and well. I'm alive and well.
They're saying you have cankles.
Well,
you have
that's
a bruise.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about cankles because that was Obama. Yes, we cankle. Okay, but they're doing very well. I was golfing last week. They said we shut down Walter Reed. Nobody's getting shut down, but the lamestream media. And she's a beauty. Look at her, getting lost. Melania's in trouble. Turn it off, please.
Yeah, Katie Couric would never act that way towards the real Donald Trump, where she's giggling and loving it.
That's comedian Matt Friend, who probably is one of the most talented multi-impersonators of the political scene that I've seen.
There are so many out there that can really do that. They're doing the teeth-free. They can really imitate him. It's funny.
And I guess what makes that particularly fun is just you'd never imagine Katie Couric having fun with Donald Trump. It ain't going to happen, like you said.
Right? She can't
keep her hands off that guy. Who's much younger than her, by the way. But did you see him patting him?
Yeah.
She was into that guy.
It was sort of cute. Yeah.
Yep.
She, for all of Katie's left-leaning things, she had a tough road to hoe. Lost her husband to colon cancer early on and really sort of launched the national, I think, awareness about colon cancer hitting younger people. So it was good to see her having fun with Matt Friend. Got to make sure we make that disclaimer. That was not Donald Trump.
She likes the Matts. Matt Lauer, Matt Friend.
There you go. Hey, that'll wrap it up. Thanks, Jen, for being in for Steph. Appreciate it.
Great to be here.
We'll look forward to Sunday and your show then. And we'll look forward to seeing everyone in the Wake Up family tomorrow.